Hi everyone, it's Aisha here from God FM, and I'm here to talk about Mr. Gary Waterman. I'm very concerned actually for the well-being of the public and for victims and for any females contacting Gary Waterman. I think he needs to be arrested and put in jail very urgently. The things that he's saying about people is putting people in danger, and what he has is more of a cult type following than anything else. There's no verifiable facts. What he's saying about people is untrue, and he's causing discord and strife, and it's only a matter of time before people start killing each other. All right, this is actually getting quite serious because the following and the dedication of the committed fan club that he's got will do whatever they need to do to protect Mr. Gary Waterman, you know. So from my point of view, I'm a woman and I'm a preacher of God, and I talk about what happens to me as a targeted individual, and I have a group of people who are also targeted, and I've done interviews and I've got people telling me what happens to them, and the things I do talk about are quite hard to comprehend or believe, but I can tell you that what I speak about is the truth because I serve the Lord. And Mr. Gary Waterman's attempt to discredit me, destroy my ministry, and destroy my reputation, I take very seriously. But also you should know that my attack since I stopped working with Gary Waterman includes and is not limited to my phone suddenly not working, the PIN code not working, taking it to 4 different shops to try and get it wiped, not being able to get it wiped. Finally I took it to another phone shop who I'd used previously, and he managed to do so only because he had rung the head office of technicians, because it was a franchise of companies that he is part of, and he was able to wipe the phone, but it was many days before I was operational. And I also know that Mr. Gary Waterman had an interview with Mr. Banana Man on YouTube, and Mr. Banana Man has the same concerns as me about the Masonic ring, Master Mason, the besotted female fan club. Often the people who contact him end up victims of targeting, hacking and stalking and raping. You know, I'm talking real crime. Mr. Gary Waterman openly tells this Banana Man that he has a list of people that contact him, and he retains it in case there's some outage of some kind, so he can contact everyone by letter. This means everyone's data is being exposed, and if you're a freedom fighter and fighting for truth, then you're contacting Gary Waterman thinking he's going to help you, but you're going to go on a list. All right? And this is about freedom. And so, supposedly, why has he got this list? Why is everybody thrown under the bus? How long has he been doing this? 3 years? And how many people has he got around him? Is there a support network? Is there anything actually being done? Is there anybody investigating the crimes that are being committed against humanity? Is anybody verifying his document? No. What I found is that the document is as good as toilet paper. It isn't irrefutable proof. There might be some bits that connect certain government officials to criminals, yes, and we all know that this stuff is going on. And most of this you can find in the paper. But the document is not for exposing fraud. It's now a document of crime and slander, and of a cult leader who is causing strife and putting people in danger. And it's a very serious criminal offense. You know, this man is doing lives, and people are watching this guy, and they are looking at him like a messiah figure. And he's pro-transgender. Well, he says he isn't, but some man who's changed his sex to become a woman, Gary refers to him as a woman. but it's a man. And he wouldn't change that. He won't take off his Masonic ring. Alright. Now, I understand his background is that Gary Waterman was brought up by his father because his parents separated very young. And, I'm going to look at the personal facts here because maybe we get an idea of who this guy is, you know. Why does he hate women so much? And what we've got is a mother figure who was, with a lot of different men. And Gary was abandoned, if you like, and had to go and stay with Daddy. And so he has a complex, I believe, against women. That's what I think. It's my opinion. I'm entitled to have my own mind and think what I think and speak what I speak. That's because the Lord made me this way. This man won't stop. He, by the way, there are people who've contacted me who Gary has thrown under the bus. And Gary has tried to have their children taken off them. All right. The people he's surrounding himself with are, criminals. Some of them are, dangerous. And Gary is dangerous. Why is an ex-copper hanging around with criminals? Please ask yourself these questions, What is Gary and who is Gary and why does he want to do all of these lies? Why does he pretend to live in a tent? What is going on? What is truth and what is lies? Well, I think all of it's lies. Because you know what? When someone tells one lie, then I don't trust anything they say. And because he's gone and lied about me, this has led to me really looking at Gary. And also other people have contacted me now. I believe the police need to arrest this man and detain him under the Mental Health Act. I think he's deranged. I do actually think he suffers from paranoid schizophrenia. Yeah, that's what I think. Because he's paranoid. He thinks everybody's out to get him. And the problem with this is anybody who contacts him to try and help with his strategy, even if he was a nice man and trying to really help humanity, then they are thrown under the bus because he becomes paranoid and doesn't think that they can be trusted. Or, the simple fact is this. Gary is either paranoid, schizophrenic, or he works for the shadow government, the cartel of criminals, and he's a master mason. I don't know how to convey this, but my mind is quite sound and quite thorough when I assess people. And I'm disappointed. I, of all the people, am the most disappointed about who Gary has turned out to be. And I must warn you, I have today sent a message to Leia for safeguarding of the public, the females that contact Gary, and myself. I am worried that people are going to be killed. I am worried for my own safety because Gary has decided to link me with Epstein Island in his fraudulent lying document. And, this is dangerous, okay? Because we've got a cult of very dedicated followers who have been slandering my name at God FM quite happily and quite confidently on platforms like TikTok, where people are building up a momentum of hatred against certain people based on lies, not facts. And a lot of the victims of Gary Waterman are female. So, as a woman, when you are raped, for example, and you want justice, and someone like Gary Waterman does a live, you're thinking, well, this is a lovely guy. He's an ex-police officer exposing the fraud. I'm going to contact him, and everything's great. And you're going to help him, and he's going to help you save the world. You just have to follow Gary Waterman's strategy, and you can save the world. Do what Gary said, and he's going to change the world. Okay. Then when you spot a few things that you're not happy with, you raise your concerns with Gary Waterman, and then he decides that you're compromised and he can't trust you. Someone's told him that you're compromised, and now you're part of the fraud. And now he's looking for a way to sink you. And he certainly, in my case, he certainly did some digging. It was Red Lion, it was PR Villa, it was Cyber Action Fraud, it was God FM, it's Christianity, it's the Bible, it's God. God is not true, the Bible's not true. You believe the Bible, you're part of the agenda. The aliens are going to come and take us. It's part of the deception that God FM has put in place by, crazy. Nutcase. Very dangerous. If people believe this man, they're deranged. If they trust him and follow him, they're deranged. The victims of the crimes of Gary Waterman are exposed to harassment, torture, hacking, and stalking. Everything about them is put on the list. This man is a dangerous man. A dangerous man, and I am warning you to listen to me. I have tried to detach from Mr. Gary Waterman nicely, but he refuses to leave me alone. And I will be bringing criminal charges against this man. Me and several others. And civil. Because I feel that he's put me in danger. Okay? Because he said things about me that are serious things. And because he has such a large following, he is dangerous. And I'm warning you, listen to me. I serve God. I am of a sound mind. I believe in God. And I believe in his Bible. And we are in the final days. And we do need a way out of the system. Yes. We do. But Gary Waterman just totally destroys the reputation of anyone who can help us. And what we have is a trail of carnage wherever he goes. And if you want to know what happened, just go and listen to the videos of what happened. I tried to remove myself from associating with this man. I found out lots of things about him, which I don't like. And I think that this man needs to be arrested, put in jail. I think he needs to be put into some type of rehabilitation for his mental state, because I don't think he's of a sound mind, and I'm very concerned for the well-being of him and the public, and of any previous victims, current victims, and future victims of Mr. Gary Waterman. And this is the way I feel. And the thing is, everything I say is always right, because this is the case in all my life. I'm always right about people. And I'm right about God. I'm right about the Bible. The Bible's true. God is true. God is faithful. This is a spiritual war. And we need to unite the people together. Yes. But we need to be careful. We're also very excited, aren't we? To fight for our freedom. But Gary Waterman is not going to be able to provide us with a vehicle of freedom. It's only going to enchain us into more carnage, strife, and criminal associations with criminals and people and the cartel and the Masons. Also we've got to ask the question, what kind of person says that the Masons have done everything to us? Alright? Masons. They're Freemasons. And then he wears a Freemason ring. a master mason ring. You don't just get a ring for being a mason. You only get a ring when you're really high up in the Masons. And if your family are part of the Masons, then you will be part of the Masons. You can't just leave the Masons. So these people are dangerous. And Gary Waterman is very dangerous. So I'm calling on all people, listen to me and, be careful of this man. All right? Okay, because I don't want what happened to me to happen to you. And that's why I'm doing this broadcast, all right? Because this Gary Waterman just continues to spread lies and rumors on public platforms like YouTube and TikTok, and without evidence, and people blindly follow him and think he's a messiah. He thinks that he's the bloodline of Jesus Christ or something. Well, he wouldn't know Jesus Christ if Jesus came and smacked him in the face, and that's a fact. He doesn't know truth from lies. He doesn't speak the language of God, which is the truth, and he doesn't like the light because he's in the darkness. And how deep is he in the darkness? Well, very deep. He cannot find his way. He is so confused and lost, this guy. It's a problem, it is. So, this is my message. I will be putting other voice notes at the end of this. And please share, because I'm being shadow banned. That's another thing. I wouldn't have the capacity to make sure that, this guy is hacked or whatever. I also I can't get my views up more than 50 on TikTok, but this guy's got 2,000 views just like this. So, share my content, please. Let's support one another and let's fight for freedom. Alright, have a wonderful day. It's Aisha from God FM. And remember that God loves you, and so do I. Praise the Lord Jesus. It's Aisha from God FM. And if you want to find me, you can find me on Podbean, Spotify, Amazon, Samsung, Chrome, YouTube, X, Apple, TikTok, God FM News, God FM New, and God FM Radio. You can email me admin@godfm.org.uk, and you can also WhatsApp me +44 777 35 77788. Have a wonderful day. It's Aisha from God FM. Take care. Hi, Leah. Thanks for that. It's nice that you've got a lovely place. I bet that's lovely and warm. Praise the Lord. With Gary, I would say that the document isn't about exposing fraud. But most of the dates don't add up, and the people are not the same people that he's talking about and linking up with other crimes. So, I think there's a skeleton of a document that might be truthful, but most of it's lies now, from what I can see. I don't think anyone can rely on it, and I also think there needs to be some safety measures in place to safeguard the public and females from male predators, criminals hanging around Gary, who are, predators of women, attempted rape or whatever else. The other thing is, I still think as well, there needs to be some safeguarding measures for females around Gary, because he's of the mind that men who change their sex and become a woman are called a woman. So this is a safeguarding against the whole earth. I would also raise this concern with you, that this needs to be addressed from a safeguarding angle. If you want to, do anything within your sphere of influence, I'm calling on you to address these matters for me, if you wouldn't mind. Also to safeguard myself and Kerry from exposure that has been put, in this document, exposing us to attack by men and by the criminal cartel. by the gangsters running this enterprise and destroying people's lives. And the safety measures I would want to look at is, I'm concerned that there's so many victims that have contacted Gary that have ended up on a list and being targeted. And he's made out they're part of the fraud, but they're not part of the fraud. One lady's a hairdresser, and they made out that she was a sniper, part of the fraud. And he goes online and he talks about people, and he smears their name and destroys their reputation. One of those people is Trevor Meelan. Again, I'd wonder what safety measures are in place, safeguarding against families who are exposed to Gary Waterman. Because it was only 9 months ago that Gary was slandering off Trevor Meelan, and he lost his house. A couple of months after that, in July, and now he's homeless with his family. And so I would say that Gary is actually a very dangerous man. That's what I think. I think we need to look at safety measures against anybody who gets in touch with the man. There needs to be safeguarding. He's collecting people's data, and he's even told that there's a guy called Banana Man, maybe go and watch his video on YouTube, that he's going to be keeping people's data in case something happens, to contact them or by letter. So, is he really living in a tent? Who does he really work for? Has anyone ever investigated Gary Waterman? This man goes around slandering people and makes up lies. His documents a lie. He, wears a mason's ring, a master mason's ring, for that matter. Very powerful. And he's quite nasty as well if he doesn't get his way. And, I would say that we need safety measures against Gary Waterman. And I would like to ask you to see what you can do to protect the public and women and families from contacting Gary Waterman thinking he's there to help them, only for him to throw them under the bus, make out they're fraud, connected, lies, and then go on live shows and talk about them in a negative way to destroy their reputations and any credibility, and for him to continue being able to do this. There must be a safety measure we can take to protect the public and Gary Waterman from himself, because he's dangerous. And that's what I'm saying. So I'd like you to look at that. I'm a woman, and I'm vulnerable because I'm targeted, and I'm being hacked, and my data's already vulnerable. Now I want to know what I can do to protect myself, what safety measures we can put in place against a predator like Gary. And he is a predator for spreading lies about a preacher of God. And obviously he's very powerful, because he's got his little powerful friends and whatever. But these are the things I'd like to raise with you. Because there's things he's putting in his document and talking about, but then he also blocks people from making comments. And so, he's slandering people. He's got a following of people who are, looking to him as a messiah type figure, but he's a liar. And he's a bit of a sadist. And he's also a bit of a psychopath. And he's anti-woman. And he makes up lies. So my legal attack on Gary Waterman now will include those things. And I'd like you to look at the safeguarding measures for me. and for anyone else that joins my legal campaign against Gary Waterman for slander. You know, as a safety measure or a safeguarding, I think that Gary Waterman needs to revoke any statements that he's made about people that are lies. And I want to see this happen. I want a public apology. Not just for me, but for anyone else that he's lied about. That's something I want. And I'll be demanding. Because I've worked hard on my ministry. And I serve the Lord. And there's got to be some safeguarding to protect the public from his behavior. And from the people he's surrounding himself with. Alright. That's what I think. So let me know, because you're an expert at safeguarding, aren't you? So I'd like to see if you could help me, please. Because the level of attack I've come under is so severe since he's decided to start spreading lies. I'm concerned for my well-being. And I really am. Alrighty. And I'm concerned for Kerry too. My friend Deborah, also, since she's been helping Gary, has had her electric box taken out. With 4 thugs turning up and a car taken. She's been stalked and hacked, terrorized. And it does seem to be all connected with Gary. It's like he's a sort of central hub for it all. That's what I think. All right then. So let me know if there's any safety measures you could put in place to protect the public, to protect females from predators like Gary Waterman, who make up lies about women. And anybody else like Mark Steele. Must be a way to stop this man from destroying people's lives. That's what I think. Alright, because the whole thing makes me cross. Okay. Love you lots. Big hugs and kisses. I pray the Lord looks after you. And let me know your thoughts. Kiss, kiss. So that message is from me to Aliyah. And it's Aisha from God FM calling for the arrest of Mr. Gary Waterman for crimes against people, humanity, the public, and in danger to himself and everyone else around him. If you want to contact me, you can. It's Aisha from God FM. You can contact me at Podbean, Spotify, Amazon, Samsung, Chrome, YouTube, X, TikTok, and Apple, and email admin@godfm.org.uk, and you can find us as God FM News, God FM New, God FM Radio, my mobile +44 07775 77788 on WhatsApp. And we do have a group for targeted individuals. If you are a victim of crime or being targeted in any way, please contact me. And also if you're a victim of Mr. Gary Waterman, also please contact me. Have an amazing day. It's Aisha from God FM. Take care.